everybody, and how are we all doing today? It is time for another Sunday night live stream coming to you live from the Podding Shed on this very wet, windy Sunday evening. Hope you're well. Hope you're having a great week. Hope you're having a great weekend. It's nearly Christmas as well, and I've pretty much done all my Christmas shopping, so I'm feeling very, very pleased with myself. Now, today we are going to be doing a bit of a seed swap. So if you've got some seeds that you want to get rid of or any seeds that you want to collect, let us know in the comments in just a moment. First of all, let's see if we've actually got anybody out there. First of all, Adrian is out there saying hello to me. Hello to you. We've got Ballysilian Allotment Man saying good evening to everyone. Good evening to you. Turbo Extreme is out there saying good evening, Veg Podcasters. Good evening to you. Excuse me. Philly SBB is out there saying hello, everyone. Good evening to you, Philly. Hope you are well. We have got Graham Bolton. Hi, guys. Hope everyone is well. How did you get on last weekend, buddy? Hope it all went good. Scott is out there saying good evening, all. Good evening to you. We have got Nicola Cornish Heaven. Evening, all. Not feeling so great. Huge nausea feelings, so maybe tuning in and out of this evening. Really want it to subside. Could be the ongoing kidney problem. Had another scan on Monday. Very sorry to hear that, Nicola. Hope you get well soon. Jenny is out there saying hello, everyone. Hope you are well and had a great week. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas here. Indeed, I've seen the photos. What that's all about, we'll find out a little bit later on. Next, we got Kate Spratt. Good evening, Veg Army. Good evening to you. I hope you are well. Nicholas says, you got lost, Richard? No, it was waiting to make sure it all connected. Idaho is out there. Hello, everyone. Hi, Nicola. Hope you feel better soon. Hello to you. Hope you are well. Jenny is out there sending hugs to Nicola as well, as is Kate as well, sending Nicola. Hope you feel better soon. Hi, Grave Guest is out there. Evening all. Hope you've had a great week. Intrigued to see how this week's subject is going to work out. It's not easy when I've done this before, but I think we will come up with something. Nicola says, thanks, Idaho. I got waves of it daily, but it seems worse this evening. Talk about her illness there. Idaho says, hit the thumbs up and says hello to everybody. Yes, please do hit the thumbs up. Stuart Jackson, evening, Richard and the Veg Army. Hope everyone is safe and well. Good evening to you. Ian Sayett says, good evening. Hello, Dad. Hope you are well. Bethan's Kitchen and Gardeners out there. Evening, all. Hope you've had a good week. Good evening to you. Jen's Garden Ventures. Hi, sorry, I've been absent most of the year. A man fell down, broke her leg in 2 places, and 6 weeks after fell and broke her arm in 3 places. It's as if we've been on career mode. On to 2024. I hope you are otherwise well, Jen. Very, very sorry to hear everything's gone on. We have got Digwell. He's saying, I'm here. Don't panic. Lovely to see you, Digwell. Kerry Nagel, is it? I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but she's saying hello to everyone. Good evening to you. Somebody in a Facebook group saying, hello, all lovely to see you. I've been having to catch up on the last few, says Amanda. Anybody in the Facebook group, your name may not come up. Just let us know who you are, just like Amanda has done. Kerry says she's not been around for ages due to loads of things and now just getting over COVID. Hope you feel better soon. It happens, doesn't it? We all get unwell, but onwards and upwards, onwards and upwards. Chili Phil saying evening from the Phillies. Good evening to you. We got Jenny says, I haven't fully unpacked my seeds yet, but I've been looking for bare root fruit stock, hoping to underplant apple and pear trees with gooseberries to make an edible boundary on the new allotment. I'll be messaging you soon, Jenny. I've got a few ideas I want to share with you on that. Stuart says, been away with school this week, so I am not talking much. Please shout. I may have fallen into sleep. We will do our best to keep you awake. Rebecca was out there saying, good evening, Richard. White over here. A lot of Christmas or a lot of snow has hit you guys, hasn't it? Not me. As you know, I don't get snow here. Graham says, I'm listening while cooking, so may be quiet at the moment. Well, funny enough, it was Graham who actually, I think, was it Graham? Sure, it was Graham who messaged me about loads of seeds that he has, which is where I thought we would go with this seed sowing conversation. And what I thought we would do, if anybody has been sorting out their seeds, their seed collection, and has any seeds that they want to give away, let us know in the comments what seeds you're going to give away. And if anybody else wants them, say, yeah, I would like those. I'm going to try and keep a note of everything. Going to need you guys to try and keep it together as well. How we sort it out, I think, is going to be a bit tricky. I guess the easiest way, if you're sending the seeds out and you want somebody to pay for postage and packaging, let the person know. Or if you're happy just to send it out, then please do go ahead. I know it's slightly difficult to do this because it's sharing of personal information, and I don't want any personal information shared on the live stream. We're going to do this through my email address just to make sure that no personal information is shared. Right, what have we got? Ian has joined saying, hi Richard, great to see you today. Lovely to see you too, Ian. Hope you are well. Kerry says, I've sold my house and I'm buying a house with my allotment at the bottom of a garden. Can't wait to move in. Fantastic. Wouldn't that be, isn't that the dream, isn't it? To have, if you're on allotment tier, to have your garden with an allotment just behind the garden fence as well. It would be my dream. I mean, Amanda and I have been talking about looking into another house, and I've said if we were to look into another house, it's only talking at the moment because we're nowhere near ready to move. But I've said that if we were to move house, then I would need a garden at least 4 times the size of what we've got, so I can do everything that I want to do. And that might be pushing it, but that's the dream. That's the dream. Turbo Extreme says, this week has been frosty and clear. Enjoyed my winter walks. The plot was frozen solid, and today it's been snow and rain, so no chance of any gardening to be had. Well, funny enough, that's why we, as I said on Monday, on the podcast on Monday, we've been looking into our seed collection. I've been trying to get rid of some of the seeds that I no longer need. Partly because I have had flu, as you saw last week. I was a bit unwell, and I ended up throwing away loads and loads of seeds just because I ended up with too much or too many seeds. I've got an under-counter fridge here that is just full of seeds, and it just gets to the point I just don't feel that I can get any more seeds in there without causing damage. So I had to get rid of some, and any seeds that were out of date went in the bin. And I threw a lot away, but still we've got lots that we want to share or want to grow next year. But as I said, if you guys got any extra seeds that you want to share, let us know in the comments. So Nicholas says, my allotment is on my land. Aren't you lucky? Aren't you lucky to have that? I think there's a picture coming up that with regards to your land. Is it 3 acres you've got? Plenty of land to do a lot in, and that would be a dream. Kerry says, my plot isn't behind the fence though, but hoping to be able to get a gate into the allotment from my garden as the next door neighbour has done. I've seen quite a few people have done that, and I think that is absolutely fantastic. You know, also, one of the problems I've had, not so much with my current allotment, although it does happen a bit with my current allotment, but my old allotment, I used to have to spend an hour traveling each way to go and do any work on the allotment. I didn't mind it at the time, but when I moved to this house, it added an extra 20 minutes. And we just felt like if you just wanted to go and get some carrots, to travel all that way just to get some carrots wasn't worthwhile. So I then got the current allotment, which was much closer, and it's been more productive and able to actually harvest the food because it's literally, well, it's a 20-minute walk, 5-minute drive. So we haven't got any or less of that faffing around. But to have it right at the end of your garden where you can literally open a gate, go get everything you need, and then come back, just makes life so much easier, doesn't it? You haven't got to worry so much about needing a shed on the allotment or tools. There's more space you can have for growing your vegetables. Better composting, I'm guessing, as well, because you can incorporate that into your garden too. Yeah, I'm quite jealous, if I'm honest with you, to be in that position. Jenny says, I know I'm definitely in need of peas and beans as I have no stock from this year. I am sure I have some spare companion plant seeds and seed leaf mixes. So Jenny could do with some peas and beans if anybody has any peas and beans. I think I probably do actually have a few peas you can have, Jenny. I will email you about those at some point as well. I'm going to make a note of that for that. Nicholas says, we had snow Monday and hung around for a few days in places, but the rain washed it all away today. But ice on top of the water in buckets in the garden. Ooh, certainly cold. 3.6 acres, a dream and a nightmare. A lot of work. It's a lot of work to look after that much land. Graham Bolton says, give us a shout with whatever seeds you want, guys. If I have them, I don't mind sharing them with you all. I've got 2 big carrier bags full to go at. So there we go. Start shouting out if there's any particular seeds you would want. That might be an easier way to do this. Any seeds that you want, and somebody else might be able to say, yes, I've got some of those. I'm after a few more chili seeds. And in fact, somebody forgot to remind me I need to pay somebody for some seeds. Digwell, please remind me. I'd keep forgetting. If you've still got them, that is. Turbo Stream says, my allotment is 1.5 miles away. I actually think I prefer to go there. It gets me out the house and I meet other plot holders. If I grew at home, I probably wouldn't talk to anyone for weeks. Funny enough, this is something that I've had a discussion with Amanda quite a bit, is that the great thing about having an allotment is that I can visit people, I can see people. It's more social as opposed to gardening at home. And I have to admit, when I'm in my own garden, when I'm in my back garden particularly, I am not the most social person. I want my privacy in my own garden. But on the allotment, I'm quite happy to chat to a few people. So there's quite a bit to be said. Nicola says, I think I may be able to have runners and peas. So there we go. Nicola might have some for that. Make a note of that. Nicola also says she has some marigold seeds. If anybody wants marigolds, let us know. Kate says, I'm hoping we can find a house where I can have everything in the garden. It's just too much of a struggle with my allotment now, and time spent traveling means I need a full day there. Completely agree with you, Kate. That was one of the disadvantages I had with my old allotment. It was a full day every weekend, so the wife never saw me on a Saturday sort of thing. And sometimes I would actually go there for 6 o'clock in the morning just to do a bit and actually try and get a day. Now I have one local to where I live. It does make life much easier. But yeah, of course, in your circumstances, Kate, of course, you want one in the garden. Hopefully your new house will provide that. I won't go into the details of that. Nicholas says she gave me some chili seeds last year. Yes, you did. We're doing well with chili seeds. I like chilies. I'm trying to grow quite a few of them as well. Graham says, loads of chilies, Richard, here. Oh, lovely. Thank you. That would be great, Graham. Love a few chilies. Right. Ian says to Nicola, you need a compact tractor or Ferguson T20. Yeah, tractor. Love a good tractor, don't we? Toby Stream says, for us singletons, it's important to recognise the social aspect of allotment garden. Good point. It is a very good point. It's obviously I'm not single, so I don't fall into that. But then I'm not the most social person at times. At the same time, yeah. Nicholas says she would like some giganti beans. If anybody has any awesome atomic grapes, so I'll pop that down. Nicola, gigant or atomic grape. I think I might have some atomic grape somewhere. I might. I'm trying to think. I haven't seen them, so it may not be the case. But I'll double check for you. Bethan says, having moved from an allotment to growing in a garden, it's very convenient. But when there's a mess that needs tidying, you always see it at home, and it can be annoying. Interesting. It's a very good point. And I guess what I've noticed with the allotment when it comes to being, I mean, I'm a messy person, I'm a messy person, and I find keeping things tidy to be a struggle, part of due to being the ADHD I tend to suffer from. But I find because we are subject to people inspecting the allotment, I'm more than likely to keep the allotment tidy than what I am at home. So interesting, but I totally get what you are saying. Chili Kit says, we have lots of chilies, Richard. What type are you after? I'm chopping veg at the moment, so can't check. I'm just after any different chilies that are available, just to share, just to try and grow a few and try and save some seeds. Idaho says hello to Hargrave and Stuart Jackson. Idaho, I feel a bit guilty. You're being a little bit left out because we can't really share seeds with you. But hopefully you might take this on with something you can do locally. Apologies if you are feeling left out. Nicola, in regards to the gigantes that Nicola was after, Kate has some. So I'll make a note of that. There we go. I'll make a note of that, and I'll try and sort something out to get that sorted between you guys, if that works. Idaho says, Richard, do you want hot chilies? Oh, I love my hot chilies. Yes, I do love hot chilies. They are tasty. They are tasty. Digwell also has these gigantes, if that's any use as well. It's just getting it out to everyone. It's going to be what I'll do. If I know you, I'll get your email addresses, and I'll pass the email addresses on between you two to try and, or everyone involved, to sort this out. That could work. Kerry says, I've just put photos up on the group. Got loads to do in the new garden. Any idea how to deal with bamboo? At least I'll have some for the allotment. Oh, right. I've got a bit of a story. This is going slightly off topic, but we'll come to it. I have a bit of a story about bamboo. Now, many years ago, I did actually, before the podcast, I did actually speak to somebody who had bamboo growing in their garden, and they were trying to remove it. It was a difficult thing to remove. They were digging it out as much as possible, but it was tricky. Now, when I spoke to this person, the bamboo was actually basically growing alongside their house. And I turned around and said, I think the only way you're going to deal with that now is with weed killing. Now, I hate using weed killing. It's one thing I do not like to use, except in extreme circumstances. And my stance on this was, if the bamboo is growing alongside the house, it could well be damaging the foundations of the house. So to protect the house, we might need to use a weed killer. So it depends how bad it is and if it's going to cause any damage to anything else. But if you can, keep digging it out, cut it down, and make sure it doesn't produce any leaves is the next idea. But that's only if you can do that when it comes to bamboo. Jenny says, not a seed, but when we defrost, does anyone have any Bockin 14 comfrey root? And yeah, we could pull that down as well. Bockin 14. I don't have Bockin 14, but I do have lots of comfrey growing on my plot, but it would need a bit of putting into a pot of something. Scott says, with you, Turbo Stream, I like being away from home. I like walking through the allotment gates. It's like walking through a pothole into a different world. If I was at home, I would be distracted. Again, I agree with you on that. I do tend to get not more done on the allotment. for that very reason. Graham says we would get on well, Richard. I got OCD. Yeah, I sort of ADD. I hate mess, but I create mess. Is the way it's described. Idaho says she's not feeling left out. Thank you. I'm pleased to hear that. I was just worried. Andrew says, evening all, just back from the Kevin's Rambles lunch. You missed a great occasion, Richard. Next time. I'm on a diet. So I'm not eating, as you know. But it was good to see you earlier, Andrew, as well. Andrew, by the way, Andrew's over in the UK from Croatia, so met up with him earlier this morning. Digwell says, very clever, Richard. You held off so long, I'll have to send them as part of this show. That was not my intention, honestly. I just keep forgetting to find out how much you want for them. Let me know how much you want, and I will send it over. I will pay. Don't feel obliged or anything. Sorry, I had to wash up. I'm back. No problem. Nicholas says, I have lots of seeds, but need to go through, so we'll check and offer after as well. Hi team, I'm looking for some unusual seeds for school, says Stuart Jackson. Happy to pay postage, thank you. Some unusual seeds. I mean, this is something I was hoping we would get into actually, because I'm after some oyster plant seeds. I don't think anybody would have any oyster plant seeds, but I am after some of those. But I'm also after some more of the sort of perennial vegetables, the Japanese walking onions. I tried growing those a few years ago and they failed, but Japanese walking onions would be, is it Japanese walking onions? Egyptian walking onions. Something like that, or the perennial kales, perennial cabbages and things like that. I would also be interested in. I'm throwing those out there as ideas. Idaho says, but I could try to send one packet of seeds if you would send me address. My email address is in the about section. Okie dokie, I will look into that. Thank you, Idaho. I will see what we can do. Digwell says, my bamboo was easy to remove, quite shallow rooted, but did you get it all out? Ian says, nightmare to get bamboo out. You need a mini digger or pickaxe. It does depend on what particular variety or particular variety of bamboo it is. Some are easier than others, but it can be tricky. He says, I've definitely lost weight. Thank you. I've lost half a stone, so I'm well on the way. I want to lose 3 stone, but half a stone I'm happy with so far, and I'm sticking at it at the moment. Scott says, I have lots of sea kale seeds I harvested on a recent holiday. It's illegal to harvest a kale, but you can harvest the seeds. Oh, see, is anybody got... anybody want some seed kale seeds? That's an idea for you. Graham says, I'm searching for oyster plant seeds at the moment. If I get some, I'll share them, guys. Thank you very much. I think I saw some in the Dobby's catalogue, or one of the catalogues. So we're definitely going to be trying some oyster plant seeds. Nicholas says, what are those seeds? Oyster plant seeds, I think, is what you're talking about. Oyster plant. They're meant to taste a bit like oysters, but we can grow them at home if they do work. I have some giant acucha. What's a acucha? What are those? Are they edible, or is that any interest to anybody? Nicholas says, I've just ordered some bunching onion seeds. What bunching onions? Isn't that just another name for some of the spring onions? I mean, I love spring onions. We grow lots of those. I think I found some Welsh onion seeds as well the other day when I was sorting those out, and I'm going to be growing more of those Welsh onions this year too. They're meant to be, the Welsh onions are meant to be a perennial onion too, thinking about it. So there we go. Digwell has said, yes, please, for the acacia. So I'll make a note. Digwell, acacia. Jenny. So what I'll do, if you guys remember who you're getting some seeds from, email me and I'll try and link everyone up and share everyone's email address. I'm making notes of it, of course, but if everyone's happy with that, I will do that. It's let's see what it is. Idaho says Acacia is awesome. Grow it. What is it? What is it? Jenny says they are a bit like a pepper and a cucumber had a baby. They are best stuffed. You know what? I might get some of those off you as well, if that's possible, Jenny, because they sound quite interesting. If you have enough, that is, of course. Scott says, is oyster plant the same as sea purslane? I don't think it is, no. I think it's completely different. It's quite a newish oyster plant. It's quite a newish plant. But yeah, it's one I want to try. Just looked it up online. The oyster plant, yes, I've just ordered some from Dobby's. It's always the way, isn't it? Always ended up ordering some. Digra says Jenny has my address anyway, so that's sorted. And Stuart Jackson says, I will send you my school email, Richard, after the show, if that's okay. Yep, not a problem. Not a problem. If anybody does want to donate any seeds to Stuart's school, particularly unusual seeds, let us know as well. Jenny says, I have enough. Send me addresses. I will do. I will email Jenny. Yeah. So Idaho says, I cook the tiny Acacia in a stir fry with onion, garlic, and whatever else. I've got to try this. I really have got to try this. It sounds very intriguing. Apparently, sea purslane and oyster plant is very similar, just a different taste, like all the basils. Fantastic. Right, I'll tell you what we quickly do. Let's have a quick break. You sent me the mission last week to show you my grow light setup, and that's what I'm going to show you now. Okay, is requested. This is my grow light setup, and it's in my kitchen because it's a bit warmer. And for the grow lights, we've got these ones up here, which simply came from IKEA, and I've just screwed these into this wooden shelf. Now, this is pretty simple setup, and of course we can hire up the plants as we need them. I'll start down here on the bottom, on the second to bottom shelf. Now this is just a standard heated propagator. I've got the chili seeds we sown last week in there at the moment, but we've got no grow lights on this level. I always find that when they're waiting to germinate, they don't really need light. But as soon as they germinate, we then move them up into this heated propagator. Now this one, we've got the lid cracked open. There's nothing in there at the moment, but we do have the grow lights. And after about a week in there, once they seem to be growing stronger, we then move them over to this other heated propagator, which basically just gives them plenty of ventilation and encourages them to grow well. After about a week, and probably when we then need to pot them on, they then go up to this shelf. Now this shelf doesn't have any form of heating. It literally is just for grow lights, and that's where we encourage them to grow on nice and strong before they go outside. Now on this shelf at the moment, we've got some chickpea seeds, which we're doing some shooting seeds with, and that's going to be coming up in a video in a little bit. But here is lettuce we sown a couple of weeks ago in these agrarian plug plant trainers, which I'm quite liking, I've got to admit. Unfortunately, I did forget to put these under the grow lights, which is why these lettuce seedlings are looking a little bit leggy, but I think now they're under the grow lights, they should start to sort themselves out. So there we go, that is my grow light station as requested, all set up, and going to start using more and more over these next few weeks, especially with things like microgreens. Right, back to the studio. There we go. That is my grow light setup, and yeah, it's good to get some seeds sowing. Those chili seeds we did, I'm sure it was last week, wasn't it? We did the chili seeds, and they're not showing any signs yet, but as they evolve and grow, we move them on and on and on. It's not the best setup, but it works for me. And one thing I did, and I forgot to mention this, is that if I feel a seed is too far away from my light, I would actually put some blocks underneath the propagator to bring it closer to the light. I would like to get some of those heated propagators with lights inbuilt in the future, but that's going to happen at some point. Also, should add that the grow lights are actually on a timer, so they come on at 6 o'clock in the morning and off at 8 o'clock at night. That's it. That's all I have to say. The heated propagators, of course, stay on at all times. So, back to the comments. Idaho is saying Achucha is how it's pronounced. Achucha. Hopefully I've got that. Or Achucha. I think is that right? Let us know. Digwell says, do they make you sneeze? Achucha. Bless you. Thank you. Graham says, Stuart, are you wanting edibles or flowers, mate? Digwell says, I hope Amanda's head gets better soon. She's wearing a hat, wasn't she? I told you, we don't have our heating on unless we really need it, and it has to be really cold. We'll sooner put jumpers on and stuff to keep warm. We're old-fashioned like that. Jenny says, Stuart, is it the same address for the school you sent me before? And Stuart says to Graham, we don't mind which seeds, but with a bit of luck, the children will start cooking what they grow in the coming months. But flowers are also welcome. Thank you. Bethan says, is Amanda wearing a hat, Richard? Are you providing your plants with heat and not your wife? Yes, that is completely true. Yes, I do provide my plants with heat, not my wife. Well, actually, it's the other way around. Amanda refuses to have the heating on. I'm not complaining in some ways, but I would probably be the one that turns the heating on before her. She will sit there covered in blankets and still refuse to turn the heating on. Don't ask me why. You can ask her on Christmas Eve when we do the show why she's like that. And Bethan says, greatest setup. Thank you very much. Has anybody else got any more seeds that they want to get rid of? I have found, I bought this a few years ago with the intention of growing chia, and I've never actually got round to growing it. I don't know if these seeds are still going to be any use. Let's open it up and see what it's like. Well, okay. Well, no, it's not. It's not what I'm interested. A big old pack with some sort of vermiculite in here. I wasn't so interested in that. I was more interested in the seeds. If I can open this back up, that is. We got a couple of packs of chia seeds there. I might be able to have packed for 2018. It shows how long I've had them. Something I just never got round to growing. And then we've got a misting spray as well. Has anybody ever grown chia? Is it any good? Is it worth growing? I've eaten chia a lot, but I'd like to know if it's worth growing. Nicholas says, like your setup, Richard, I bought windowsill propagator Super 7, so looking forward to use and some cheap grow lights. For me, the cheapest grow lights I found have been from IKEA, which are the ones I tend to use. And those ones are actually for the IKEA hydroponic system. I've just adapted them to that. There we go. Digwell says, I used to like the show. Cheers. What have we done? What have we done? What have we done to upset you, Digwell? We didn't mean it, I'm sure. Nicholas says, I have no heating, electric blanket, electric throw, and cats. Yeah. We got open fireplaces. That's our main source of heating. As I said, Amanda just doesn't like the temperature on, the heating on, sorry. Kerry says, I'm an LSA in my town school. Local support agent, is that? And it's got a link way between the upper and lower school, which is basically a greenhouse. We'll put photo up on the group. It's quite a deprived area, so if anyone would be willing to send any seeds, I would really appreciate it. I give them plants that I grow, but seeds would be great too. So if anybody does want to donate seeds to Kerry's LSA, that would be fantastic. Digwell says, no, the show Cheers TV swap sitcom. Right, with you. Sorry, with you. Showing my age now. Nicholas says, my lights new, but from Facebook Marketplace. Well, good. Yeah, Facebook, another place we can get these things from. I would like to grow chickpeas, not as a microgreen. Has anyone had any success? Yes, I grew it a few years ago, actually. Now, if you haven't used the seeds I sent out, the chickpea seeds I sent out, was it last month? Yes. If you haven't used those, you can actually save those and sow those March, April time and let them grow on into the plants. The only thing is, I did actually get dried chickpeas out of them like you would normally expect, but you do need a long, hot summer to be successful with chickpeas. You can get the green, the immature ones that need eating right away, but if you want to grow actual chickpeas to make like tahini paste and to store, you need a long, hot growing, long, hot summer. But yeah, they can work. They can definitely work. I probably have some more chickpea seeds as well if anybody wants any. Kerry says, learning support assistant. Oh, LSA, learning support assistant. So again, anybody else wants to donate some seeds to the school, it'd be very much appreciated. Nicholas says, I've seen they are fiddly to harvest. They weren't too bad. Didn't get a huge amount out of them is the only thing when I grew them. I should grow them again. They were good. They were tasty, just not a huge amount to make it worthwhile. As I said, you need that long, hot summer to make it worthwhile, which we haven't had for a few years now. Idaho says, all the sources say that onion seeds only last a year or two, and I had onion seeds 4 years old that germinate. So after that, I don't throw old seeds out, I try them. So this is something I spoke about on the podcast on Monday, is that I do get rid of old seeds once they go out of date. And the only reason I get rid of them, I'm sure they will still actually be pretty good, but the reason I get rid of them is that otherwise I end up with way too many seeds. So I just use that as a cutoff point. I use the out of date as a cutoff point to get rid of them. Like I said, I will hoard these things for as long as possible. Otherwise, it becomes a problem. That's my attitude with it. Jenny says, thank you. Digwell says, anyone tried dude peas? Dude peas. Never heard of them. Let us know. Oh, he says, I'll get my coat. Dude peas. Greg Miller, hello and welcome. Really liking the weekly podcast lately. Keeps me sane when I haven't got a chance to get to the allotments as much as I'd like recently. I think we're all in that same boat lately. So much wet weather. It does make it tricky. But thank you very much for liking the weekly podcast. Please do rate and review as well. Always appreciated. Jenny says, I will sow them, Richard. Yes, please, if you have any spare. We eat a lot of chickpeas, so any harvests will be very welcome. Yep, chickpeas too. to Jen H. I'll pop that down as well. Nicholas says uses microgreens. Yes, I could use my old seeds as microgreens. That is also very, very true. But again, I come back to that whole thing that I end up with way too many. I mean, cauliflower is a good example. Cauliflower, you tend to get quite a few seeds in a packet, far more than any cauliflowers or far more cauliflowers than we are likely to eat. But if you don't, I find if we don't get rid of the old seeds, they just end up with thousands of packets of seeds. As I said, I've got a fridge just under this worktop. It's a under counter fridge, but it's an industrial fridge, and I literally could not fit any more seeds in there because it was so full. And that's why I have to cut things off at a certain point to get rid of them. Nicholas says, I've grown tomatoes, 10-year-old seeds, but not opened. Yeah, I don't doubt that they do work. I don't doubt that work. Digwell, chickpeas, dude peas, with you now. Sorry, my brain is a little slow tonight. Chickpeas, dude peas, with you. Completely with you. Oh dear, I'm a bit slow as that. Idaho says, true, I'm a seed hoarder as well. Aren't we all? I think one of the biggest troubles is so many people send us seeds as well to try out and see what they like, that it does create a bit of you just seem to hold on to these things. And you go to a garden centre, you buy more seeds. You go to I don't know. You just end up with more and more seeds, don't we? Especially if I'm trying to save a few more of our own seeds as well. It just seems to bring in a few more. Bethan says you are in fine fooling tonight. Yes, you are. Yes, he is. He's certainly getting me. Ian says, Nicola, yes, I do have a spare tractor and 6-foot mower spare. Sit-on mowers are not strong enough to cut long grass. Cool. Graham Bolton says, use your old seeds for microgreens. You can, yes. As I said, that's what I used to do. But again, these seed piles just pile up and pile up and pile up. So that's why I have to get rid of them. I think I have butternut squash. Does anybody want any butternut squash seeds that Nicola might have? Put that down. Butternut Nicola. See what that. See if anybody wants any butternut squash plants. Graham says, remember to hit that like button, guys, please. Yes, please do hit that like button. Please do click, give us a thumbs up, click the subscribe or follow or whatever it may be. Click the notifications so that you know when we go live. And I can see if you have or haven't clicked that like button. So please do click that button. Under no obligation, of course, I should say. Digwell says, trouble with using old seeds as microgreen is you don't normally have enough to intensively sow to get a mass of shoots. Yes, that is also true. Unless you do have loads and loads of seeds, especially unopened packets, which I seem to have had loads of as well. It's just a case. As I said, it's just a case of trying to work out what's best for you. For me, it was more important to try and reduce my seeds down than hoard onto them. But I think most people who grow their own are seed hoarders anyway. Jenny says, I find succession sowing, I can struggle to have enough or have far too many seeds. I never seem to get the right balance. Yeah, again, this is all things that happen. I mean, we're trying to do a bit more of the succession sowing in the supporters club. It's difficult to get that balance just right, but it's about, I think a lot of it does come from experience, learning how many seeds you need to sow or how many seeds you need to have ready to sow to work out how much food you have. And of course, that changes with the weather. Kerry says, yes, please, to butternut squash for her school. So, Nicola, Kerry would like butternut squash. I will, Kerry, please message me with your email address, and that would be great. Greg says, when's the best place to review? So I know that you say this every week, but I am always driving at the time. It depends on what podcast provider you're using. If you're using iTunes, then just go to the Veg Ground podcast on iTunes, and it says somewhere there, rate or review the show. And it's the same with pretty much any of the other providers, Amazon Music, Spotify, etc., etc. There we go. Bethan says, I have rhubarb crown if anybody wants. Variety is typically early, a very good variety. Rhubarb crowns. That's actually a very good one. Rhubarb, and that was Bethan. I grew rhubarb from seed this year, and that has been such a success that I'm going to be doing it again next year. So that's always very, very worthwhile. Bethan, yes, please, for that. And how many would you like, Nicola? Says Bethan. Always good, isn't it? Always good to share. I think, we said we're going to do seeds for this, but there's no reason why we can't share any of the other plants, be it bare roots. I know Jenny is still after Bocking 14. If anybody has a root of Bocking 14, I think that would work. Nicholas says, can use rhubarb leaves as plant feed? I've never tried that myself, but I'm sure you can. It's like banana skins and other things. Comfrey, of course, banana skins and nettles. We can all make plant feed from. Trouble is, we end up with all these things we can make plant feed from. End up with more plant feed than what we know to do it. It's another thing that I seem to get loads of when I go to events and stuff. Get to trial out different plant feeds. Nicholas says, a couple, please, Bethan. So I have got Bethan's email address. Nicola, if you could send me your email address privately, I will share you two email address on that. Nicola says she saw the rhubarb feed as on a video on Facebook. I'm sure there's loads of things we can make some plant feed from. I think lettuce and things as well, or old worm tea is my favourite though. Bethan says no problem. And thank you. Sorry, I'm just clicking the button as the comments come up now, so trying to keep on top of it. Right. Anything else? Digwell comes up with a good point. The best thing to use as a liquid plant feed is a weed that is prevalent in your area, docks, nettles, etc., etc. Yeah, that's certainly true. I mean, if they're growing well in your area, they are going to grow fantastic. They're going to absorb all those nutrients out the soil to make the plants. So therefore, by using them as a weeds, they're going to turn them into it. It's a name for it, isn't it? Like comfrey is a dynamic accumulator because it's so good at absorbing nutrients from lower down, bringing it up in the leaves, and then you turn it into either compost or feed. Right, I tell you what we're going to quickly do now. We're going to go to, you sent me the challenge of, not the challenge, the seed to sow for parsley this week. Let's go to that. Right, so sticking with this grow light station that we were talking about earlier, I'm going to sow some parsley. This is a plain leaved French parsley. Now, this is just a pot of multi-purpose compost. And I'm actually doing these under grow lights just to give them a bit of a stronger start. I find with parsley, it grows or starts to germinate best in the colder parts of the year. So I'm not putting these under heat or anything, but we're just going to get some of these sown. I'll probably do some outside in the greenhouse as well, just to ensure we get a few pots. Quite simply, just scatter over a few seeds over the top. And then we press down I'm not going to cover these seeds because I think pressing them down is enough to encourage these to grow. And we'll leave it until they germinate. We'll grow these indoors over winter actually to keep on the windowsill as a bit of a kitchen herb. Parsley is a great one to use. Very easy to look after, doesn't need much other than decent compost and plenty of light, and make sure it doesn't get too hot. So there we go, parsley is sown for this week. Back to the studio. There we go, parsley is sown this week in the pot to grow on our, well, under the grow lights, but also on the kitchen windowsill. I'm going to be sowing a few more of those parsleys actually, because we eat a lot of parsley and it's something we quite like. And it's good to sow at this time of year. I've always found with parsley, I don't know if anybody else has found this, it seems to grow better when sown around this time of year. It needs to be in a greenhouse or indoors. It won't do so good outside, but it does seem to germinate better in the colder times of the year. Right, back to the comments. Nicholas says, I have some flower seed apart from the marigolds. So if anybody is after flower seeds. Graham says, rhubarb leaves boiled and a drop of dish soap are good to keep caterpillars off your veg. Just spray away. There we go. Didn't know that. Did not know that at all. But we had a bit more problems with caterpillars this year than usual, so that's going to be interesting for next year. Jenny says, I always make nettle feed and dock. Stinks, but I can hardly smell anything after having COVID, so it doesn't bother me. Yeah, I do. I used to do nettle feed, comfrey feed, and worm feed. I don't do nettle feed anymore so much, just purely. Well, the only reason is that I just don't. I got too many other feeds that I just don't feel the need for it anymore. Nicholas says, I can't grow in the ground, and I don't think comfrey, etc., due to arsenic in the soil. You were right there. Nicola down in Cornwall, of course, has arsenic in high levels of arsenic in the soil, so she can't grow anything in the ground. But you can grow comfrey in a pot and still use that. But I guess at some point it will deplete the nutrients. Just have to keep topping it up with plenty of fresh compost to keep it going. Digler says, if you change the settings on your phone or camera to 25 or 50 frames per second, you won't get any flickering. Darn, another secret gone. Yes, I know. It was my GoPro. I just quickly grabbed it. The flickering was actually coming from the rim lights. I saw it when I was editing it. It's all stuff we know. My other cameras are all set up for that, but for some reason, I think that camera's on 60 frames a minute, and that's why we got the flickering. I was playing around with settings and what have you. Yeah, not a secret, Digwell. I knew that one. I just hadn't set that GoPro up as well as I would like. Graham says, I mix comfrey and nettles in a big tub, top with water, so get the best of both plants in one feed. We're going to have to discuss feeds at some point, because that's something we've talked about before, because we always have. Oh well, always spend a fortune on plant feeds and fertilizers, don't we? Just going to make a note of that. Have we got anything? Have we got any more seeds? I can't see anybody else got any more seeds that they feel they want to share. I say, there's no harm in asking. You might have something completely insane, but there's no harm in asking. If anybody has, if you are after a particular seed, there's no harm in asking. If we haven't got it, we can't give it to you, but you won't know, or we won't know if we don't ask. I was thinking of something I wanted to talk to you guys about, and it's completely gone out of my brain. Don't you hate it when that happens? Yeah, I can't think what it was now. I cannot think what it was. It's annoying. It's so annoying. I spend a week, obviously, when I'm out at work or during the week, this show, like the podcast, is always up there in my mind, and I'm always sort of thinking of things that I or listening to the news or anything I want to talk to you guys about. And I try and keep a note of it. Not always that easy, but sometimes my brain lets me down and I forget. And I've just remembered what it was actually. I shared a link today from a company called Genius Wear. I think it was .com or .co.uk. Basically, it is a website that sells garden clothes. They featured the Veg Ground podcast in their monthly newsletter, and on their excuse me, still got the remains of that sore throat, and on their website, which is a link I shared with you, or if you're on Facebook, you would have seen it anyway. But it got me wondering, and it's something I'm going to be talking about a bit more on Monday. Does anybody have any dedicated gardening clothes? I know I'm going off subject here, but I feel like the seeds is starting to filter out. But does anybody have any clothes that are dedicated for gardening, and why? And what is special about them? It was a question I've been thinking for a few weeks, really, because I always just wear clothes that are in my wardrobe. I'm obviously not going to wear my best clothes to go out in the garden, but at the same time, it's just whatever is suitable. Graham says, I've loads of seeds. Just ask away, guys. No problem. Aztec broccoli going as well. What's Aztec broccoli? What is that? That sounds interesting. Scott says, I have Jerusalem artichoke tubers if anyone wants some. I've eaten so many and haven't even put a dent in them and can't face them anymore. Scott, of course, shared with us a lovely Jerusalem artichoke recipe on Monday's podcast. It's on the website if you want to check that out. But yeah, I was with you on that, Scott. We ended up with so many Jerusalem artichokes we couldn't face eating them, which is why I've almost got rid of them. But now, since you shared that recipe, I'm thinking of growing them again to try and keep a few more. But Jerusalem artichoke, anybody want any Jerusalem artichoke tubers? My brain lets me down hourly. Brain fog is a joy that I live with. I know how you feel, Jenny. I hate it when it happens when you're doing a live stream, though. Nicola says, one I've always wanted to try is cocoa dip in pale haricot beans. I haven't seen those particular ones. Just make a check of that. Note of those. Did Nicola? I think I've got some haricot beans, but they're cocoa dip in pale. I don't think I've got any myself at all, so I'll keep an eye out for that. Scott, nice roasted with honey. Talking about Jerusalem artichokes, yeah. Bethan says, I always wear the same clothes in my garden as they are comfortable and old, so I don't mind them getting dirty and torn. That was kind of my attitude as well, I'll be honest. That was my sort of thoughts. It's old clothes that I don't mind getting dirty or torn. Yeah, I'm with you with that. Okay, make a note for that for those artichokes. I've read that one. Sorry, Kerry says, anything please, Scott, for my school. Again, Kerry, email me your email address or message me your email address and I will pass that on. Jenny, I wear what wants washing. Also love anything with pockets. Yeah, I totally agree. It's just one of those questions that popped up. When I was looking into this website, I mean, I'll be honest with you, when I looked at the price of the trousers, for example, on this website, 120 quid. They're meant to be gardening trousers, but I sort of thought, I'm not going to spend that much on a pair of gardening trousers. So I feel a bit guilty admitting that, but it's true, isn't it? Chili Kate says, I usually wear one of my allotment t-shirts over the winter, over a long sleeve t-shirt and a blue fleece that is now too scruffy for anything else. I love the fact that we're all sort of talking about old and clothes that we don't mind getting torn or dirty. You know, we must be If anybody else saw us not at the allotment, we're right little scruffs in the nicest possible way. Kate says, I'm with you on the brain fog, Jenny. Greg says, can anyone recommend a good variety of leeks to grow and also any particular fertilizer organic for them? We use a lot of leeks and I'd like to be able to grow them all next year. My favourite has to be a variety called King Richard. Really tasty, decent growth. And as for fertilizer, chicken manure pellets is all they need. Just a handful of chicken manure pellets every few weeks does them a world of good. But King Richard's mine. I'll see if anybody else has any varieties. And Kerry would like some for myself. Kerry said, email me. I will share your emails with Scott to sort that out. Chili Cake says, I have so many seeds, too many to list, but if anyone wants anything in particular, just ask. Yeah, indeed. Just ask if there are any that anybody wants. Scott says, they are tasty, but not grown them before. I have no idea how much they produced and planted way too many. Talking about Jerusalem artichokes, yeah. And they come back year after year after year, no matter how much you seem to remove them. Toby Stream says, I always seem to go to the allotment in freshly washed clothes, seldom return without muck all over them. Yeah, we all do that, don't we? I mean, as I said, when I was looking at this, for £120 for a pair of trousers, I'm not going to wear. I'll be too scared to wear it down on the allotment, if I'm honest with you. That being said, they did look pretty decent. Often wear what I've put on for the day in a veg garden, as often wear the same type of clothes from day to day as on the farm. Yeah. This is the trouble I have. I seem to, if I'm not at work, I seem to always wear my veg gardening clothes, and then the wife gets annoyed with me because I always look scruffy. But then I spend most of my spare time veg gardening anyway. Yeah. Kerry says, I just wear old clothes that have holes and stains on it. Yep, that's the same as me. Same as me. Jenny says, Greg, I highly recommend Natural Grower, liquid feed, soil conditioner and compost made locally to me. I have visited and it's organic. Love it. Fantastic. Graham says, I'll make up some packs to share with the schools, etc. Just let me find my small snapper bags. Let me make a note of that. Graham, seeds for schools. Again, I will pass everyone's email address on with that. Digra says, I always wear tracksuit bottoms just for the bit of freedom they offer. Also called jogging bottoms, but mine have never been used in anger. Yeah. I do try and wear jeans, my denim jeans a bit more because they're less likely to rip. But yeah, tracky bottoms, especially when it's cold, there's just something comforting about it. Digwell says high potassium for alliums. Yeah, I say I use chicken manure pellets and they seem to do as well. Kerry sent me her email. Thank you very much. Digwell says, when I earn as much as Monty Don, I'll buy a pair. Yeah, 120 quid. I mean, I'm sure they're very, very good. And you pay, I'm a firm believer when you pay for what you get. I mean, you go to Primark and buy a pair of trousers for, I don't know, what, they 10, 12 quid in there now. They don't last that long. But yeah. Chili Kate says, completely off topic, but I thought you'd be interested, Richard. I got some sprouty looking turmeric in the supermarket. Let's see if I can get it to do anything. Oh, that would be interesting to see. I've got turmeric growing as well, so it would be great to see if you actually managed to get that to sprout and grow. It does die off in the winter months, but comes back in the summer months. But I'll be very intrigued with what you do there. Nicholas says, just ordered some seeds of leeks that had purple tops. I thought they looked pretty. Purple topped Greek seed leeks. Intriguing. Very intriguing. Turbo Stream says, I do live in my walking trousers. So comfy and quick and dry quick in the rain. Yes. Funny enough, when I was in my wardrobe this morning, I was thinking that same sort of thing. Walking trousers are probably great for the allotment. Less likely to rip, last a while. keep you dry. All these are all the questions that suddenly came out when I was thinking about this a bit more. Jenny says, I do like a pair of dungarees. No bill for us bum that way. You're selling me on the dungarees now. That might help. If only they did dungarees that would look good on blokes. I never think dungarees in blokes seem to go well. But yeah. Ian says, I buy M&S jeans. They are not that expensive and are strong and last well. I haven't been into Marks and Spencer's for so long I couldn't tell you. So I have to take your word on that. Chili Kate says, Jenny, I'd love dungarees, but I don't really have the right shape to pull it off. Yeah. I like the idea of dungarees. I just don't think I would look good in them. Digwell says, Primark £10 trousers may not last as long, but you can buy 12 pairs. It's a good point. It is a very good point. I'm just intrigued as to what clothes everybody does wear. I mean, the dungarees is something I've looked at. The sort of hiking trousers is something I've looked at. Or my work trousers is another example. Plenty of pockets on the legs, hard wearing. But then, yeah. And then, I mean, I went down the allotment yesterday, freezing cold. I was actually wearing long johns as well to keep me warm. Something else I speak a lot about. Everyone is grateful talking about the dungarees and no builder's bum. Nicholas says, Kate, which supermarket for turmeric? I want to try to grow. Best place if you want turmeric is to actually go to like a Indian cash and carry type place. They generally sell it. I think not Waitrose. Morrison's used to sell turmeric, but Indian cash and carry type places, Indian supermarkets are generally the best place I've found to buy it from. Thomas Doom says, I gave up on jeans. I'm very short, so I always needed to shorten them. It was costing me a fortune each time to get them shortened. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? How clothes differ from person to person. Kerry says, I have dungarees, but take ages to get them off if you need a week. Good point. That's a very good point. Hadn't thought of that. Chili cake, no such thing. Pop them on and look fabulous. Yeah, if they do decent ones for blokes, let me know and I'll try them out. Nicholas says, I know someone who uses a single adjustable temperature controlled electric blanket under seeds wrapped in heavyweight plastic. Can pick up cheap or free on Facebook sometimes. Is this talking like an electric blanket for people? I would always be worried about the electrics in that, but I guess it's better than sleeping on it. Let's see. Chili Kate says, got it in Asda. £1. So our little veg shop used to sell them individually by weight, but now charge $3.99 per pack. I didn't know Asda sold them. There we go. I learn something new every day. Idaho says, I just wear my oldest tattiest. I think seems to be the thing we all do. Turbo Stream says, Craig Hopper's Kiwi walking trousers seem to last years. Well, Craig Hopper's always good. I've got a few Craig Hopper trousers that just seem to last and last as well. But they are intended more for walking. I'm always too scared to wear them down the allotment for fear of ripping them. Ian says, if wet, I just use wet weather leggings. Is fed up with kneeling in the wet, even with kneelers. What kneelers do you all have? I've got, they're not in here actually. I can't think of the manufacturer now. I'll have to keep my eye out on what they are. They're the bright coloured ones. Bethan says, I remember watching Alice Flower's edible garden a few years ago, and she was wearing some lovely clothes in the garden and didn't seem to mind getting them messy. You got to remember, and this is again, there's something that's sort of triggered in my mind. You got to remember, when you're making a TV program about gardening, you are making a TV program about gardening. You are not gardening. You're making a TV program. So those clothes are probably only put on for that particular shot or shoot. And anything dirty or anything like that is done in other clothes, like moving bags of compost. It's probably done in other clothes to not look so messy on camera, because trust me, on camera it all picks up, doesn't it? As to sell what? Missed that. Turmeric root, which is basically before it's been processed, if you like. Scott says, I have a pair of waterproof trousers I pot over whatever I'm wearing at the time. Waterproof trousers, that's a good thought. That's a very good thought. Chili Kate says, I'm very impressed by the lady on our site who always gardens in a dress, even in this cold weather. Must be brave. Nicola, neoprene with Velcro straps. That's the ones I've got. Neoprene with Velcro straps for the kneelers. Small enough for my knees, so fall down my legs. Yeah. Digler says, I just kneel down and get wet. My skin is waterproof and I'm only half a mile from home. I do exactly the same, but then I get annoyed with myself for dirty knees, especially if I'm on a camera or something. Jenny says, I love Alice Flowers Edible Garden. I still follow her on Instagram and have her books. I love her growing methods. Yes, she used to do a podcast as well many years ago as part with it was part of the Guardians when they did the podcast. I haven't seen her for a long time actually, so I'd be interested to know what she's still doing. Jenny says, I don't kneel. Once down, I'm a permanent feature. Yeah, I know. I feel the same. Kate says, a dress, that is brave. There's nothing under a skirt I'd want to get stung by nettles. Yeah. I didn't think of that, but I'm with you. I can't kneel, so just on my bum on the soil. Fair enough. Good enough. I wear leggings and a baggy t-shirt. Dirty knees. Bath day is never more than 6 days away. I'm talking more of my clothes. If I get dirty knees, I have to go in the wash when I get home, and I want to wear them for another few days. Alison O'Brien has joined. Hi everyone. Sorry I am late. Sainsbury's sell turmeric root as well, if anybody is interested. Turmeric root from Sainsbury's too. I never knew that. Right, should we have a look at your pictures? I've actually done the slideshow this week. Let's have a look at your pictures quickly. So Nicola, who's in the group tonight, she is looking at getting this, a huge marquee for her chickens, because, well, chicken lockdowns seem to be a thing. We seem to have escaped it so far this year. Touch wood, but it could happen, of course. I was expecting it to be, or chicken lockdown, flockdown, to be in place by now. Hasn't happened. Jenny's garden is covered in snow. This is Jenny Hallett, if I remember correctly, covered in snow. You don't see any weeds like that, do you? They're all covered in snow. And then Kate as well. Kate's S. Spratt is the other one. Her garden is also covered in snow, as we can see here. I'm actually quite envious. We never get snow here. At all. Chilies have shared their December plot view. As we were trying to do every month, I was going to get a shot of everybody's plot to pot it all together. I have to go through and see if I've got enough to start making a years long video of everybody's plots, because that was always the idea behind it. But the Chilies have done this in December. It looks great, doesn't it? And certainly shows that the fog and the mist is coming in, but there are things still happening on their plot. Digwell, now this was in reply to talking about growing some tree cabbage plants, and he's putting an arrow to where they were because the caterpillars kept eating. I think it was caterpillars that kept eating them. So if you are to grow tree cabbage, they may need netting. Jenny has, and this is a picture, Jenny Hallett again, has a new allotment that was, this is what she started off with just moved house, and now she's got a new allotment as well. So looking forward to seeing the progress on her allotment in the future. Now, Nicola has also shared that Dobbies is having a seed sale, and that's Dobbies with a single B. I think some seeds were 89p a packet. If you are interested, then go check that out. So there we go. Please do keep sharing those photos. You can post in our Facebook group. You can send to me via social media or email to me, richard@theveggrowerpodcast.co.uk. That's richard@theveggrowerpodcast.co.uk. There we go. Lots of photos coming in again. Please do keep sharing those photos. Always love seeing them. Nicola says she has got that marquee, 12 meters by 6 meters for her chickens to keep them. A helicopter was saying going up, airplane, to keep them out undercover when flock down was expected. It's probably not going to happen now, is it? I was expecting it. It doesn't seem to have kicked in just yet. Kerry says, I had to sell my chickens because I'm moving. Oh, how poor you. It's annoying with that. But once you move, you can always get more chickens. Nicola says, I was told it never snows in Cornwall when I was moving. It snowed at least 3 times. It never, or if we do get snow here, it's very, very short-lived. I mean, it's just wet at the moment, just wet. We did have a bit of snow, but it didn't settle the other day. Bethan says to Jenny, congrats on your allotment. Exciting times. And Jenny replies, thank you, Bethan. I am so excited. I'm looking forward to, as I say, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with that. Right, guys, we have got about 12 minutes left of this show. Now, next week, we are going to be talking about root vegetables. This was a subject that was recommended or requested a few weeks ago. We just haven't got around to it yet. So root vegetables, how you grow root vegetables, what you grow, things like that. So get your thinking caps on and think about that ready for next week. Added to that, we want to do another sow along video. So I need a suggestion for a seed to sow. I guess as we're going to be talking about roots, it should be something root related. And then, of course, I need a mission, a challenge that you guys can set me for the next week. I am going to a garden centre on Saturday. Something special about that. So you can set a challenge for that if that's of any interest to you, to give you a few ideas. Excuse me. Kerry says, I'm hoping to get more chickens, but a lot of foxes at a new house. Know that because I see them all the time at the allotment. Well, the foxes are probably coming in from the allotment, but there are chicken coops out there now that are pretty secure from foxes if you can get the right one. Greg says shorts all year round. It's easy. Oh, shorts. We're clothes. We're talking about clothes. Shorts all year round. It's easier to clean my knees than wash trousers. That's a good point. It is a very good point that I've never thought of. Nicola says carrots. So that could be a seed we sow, and a cloche for your new raised bed. Won't necessarily have time to build a cloche, if I'm honest, and with the lack of sunlight and what have you. Plus, I've got things in the pipeline along that, so I need a different challenge. But carrots is an option. There are some carrots that we could sow if they work. Digwell says, never snows in Cornwall. I know Davenport is Devon by a few hundred yards, but we had many police enforced traffic lockdown when I was based there due to snow. There we go. There we go. Stuart says, challenge should be to see if you can buy a Christmas gift from a garden centre, which is not garden related. That's going to be so easy. That's going to be so easy, not garden related. It's more challenging to find a Christmas gift from a garden centre that is garden related. You know that my thoughts on that, but I like that. Turbo Stream says, going to a garden centre is a challenge in December if you want to buy garden stuff. Yeah, you all know my thoughts on that. There is a reason I'm going. It's I'll make a video about why I'm going at the time, and you can see that in the future. But I like the idea of garden gifts. Fox is here. That's why they are all enclosed run for my girls. Wire on all sides. Indeed. Ian says, when you go to the garden centre, try to find a rain gauge. It's a plastic cone that tells you how much rain we have had. Rain gauge. Yeah, the that could fall into the garden gifts. So I liking that. Kerry says, if you go to a garden centre, buy a plant for less than £1. We could try and do all these challenges in a garden centre, couldn't we? Are you going to a garden centre to choose your Christmas decorations? No, I am not. Wife put our Christmas decorations up yesterday while I was out. Not happy, but hey, yeah. Jenny says, I've been looking at building multi-tier chicken coops, so small footprint but lots of space plus fox safe. Was going to keep them at the allotment, but worried I can't get to them in snow, etc. Chickens can be okay for a few days. The hardest thing would be the water if the water freezes. But a few days, we got people on our allotment who don't go down every day, but a few days can be okay. Challenge set. Choose a garden themed decoration. Oh, okay. So, yeah, lots of ideas coming in then. Digwet says, I might go to the garden centre to buy a new hat from Edinburgh. yeah, exactly right, isn't it? It's crazy to think that we go to these places. Turbo Stream says, I was sent a video of singing reindeers at a garden centre. It's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing what goes on in garden centres at this time of year. Roll on January when they are pretty much all done with. Greg says, I've done the same in ours as the coop is near a brook, like leaving a hose pipe in a ditch. Yeah, get them off the ground, I guess. Chili Phil says, we have singing penguins at our local garden centre. Yeah. Kate says, rescue a plant from the sad discounted because they have seen a better day section and see if you can bring it back to health. So, yeah, okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to go into this garden centre, find a plant, £1 plant, and see if we can bring it back. Garden themed Xmas decoration. Xmas deck. We'll do all these in one. I like this. What was it? A garden gift. Or was it non-garden gift, wasn't it? Yep. We'll tick that off as well. And Kerry has just said a Halloween decoration. Let's see if we can find that in there as well. That sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, Kate's idea. We're definitely going to do that. Sad £1 item and see if we can bring it back to health. Ian says, when you go to a garden centre, try to find a teenager that knows what they're talking about when plant related. I can't do that on video. That's just not fair. Just not fair. January, they will be full of Valentine's gifts. Probably Easter presents, to be honest with you, Digwell. Easter in January, isn't it, generally? At least the potato seeds will start coming in. Greg has elaborated a bit on what we said. I've done the same with our chicken run. Half of it is raised to just over 2 foot to house the coop and food, etc. The run is near a brook, so I want to give them dry land in case it floods. There we go. Nice hat for Digwell. We'll add that too. Jenny says, Nicola, we are only planning on having 3 chickens on an old shed base, maybe 3 levels high, so equivalent to the space of 3 sheds, if that makes sense. with you. Nice hat for Digwell. I'll put that on the list because he says that here. Onto the channel. There's quite a few things to find, but I like this. We can do this all in one go because God knows I don't go into garden centres that much in this time of year. The chickens go underneath happily, says Greg. Good for them, but a nightmare if you want to catch one. Yeah. And Jenny says to Greg, can you please post a photo on the page? That would be good to see. Yeah. Okay, says nothing says romantic Valentine's gift like fertilizer pellets. Indeed. And Stuart says you can't go into a garden centre without having a bit of cake. With who I'm going with, it's probably definitely going to be cake. Definitely going to be a cake. Hopefully I'll get him on the video as well. It's a nice little surprise. Nicholas says, yes, Jenny, it should be fine. That's why I want a roof of mine to keep them drier. Talking about the chickens. I don't know. I want to see Richard go into a garden centre and ask for a Halloween item. I'm not going to ask because it's not fair to put anybody working there on camera like that on the spot. But I will have a look for the Halloween item as well. I'm not on Facebook, but I email. Yeah, please do, and I'll share those next week. That would be great, Greg. Buy a bunny rabbit, says Kerry, for the alternatives to chickens. Or honeybees is something I'm looking at as well. Honeybees. Go in a garden centre and ask for cotton chips. Oh, dear. That would be great. Garden centre bingo, as it's been called. Yeah. Buy a bunny rabbit. Buy a bunny rabbit. Yeah, it does have a pet shop inside this one I'm looking at. Have I missed anything else? I think that is going to be for the challenges. Yeah. So you got me a lot of things to do when I go in this garden centre next on Saturday, but I don't mind that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Are we going with the carrots for the seed to sow as well? I've got a few ideas. It may not be successful, but there are some carrots that can be sown November, December. I tried it in the past and it didn't work. I think they need heat, but if you want me to sow carrots, then that's what I'm going to do. Jenny says, I would love to have bees. I'm hoping to get a bit of a feature about bees on the podcast, funny enough, because I was talking to somebody to see if we can do it. I'm hoping. Oh, what, bees? Yeah, of course. Digwell says, no point sowing carrots, really. There are some. I remember a few years ago, there were some varieties that said they could be sown November, December. They were like Eskimo or something. And I tried it. They never worked. They just never worked. But I think that's just due to it being too cold. I think if you had a heated greenhouse, then the carrots would probably work. But the only suggestion we've had so far is to sow carrots. So if anybody else has another suggestion in the final 60 seconds, then if not, we will go with carrots. Nicola says she has 2 to 3 hives. Yeah, I'd love to have a beehive, but I'm just worried that it won't work here at home. On the allotment, maybe, but there's a lot of people who don't like it. Somebody used to have bees on the allotment. All I need is somebody. I need somebody with a field or a farm that would let me put a beehive on their field. I wonder if anybody can think of anything like that. Kerry says, I love to have bees, but rather scared of them. I'm with you. I'm completely with you there. I see what you're saying. Bethan says, maybe grow the carrots in a pot and keep in the greenhouse. That's what I did when I tried it before. It didn't work in my greenhouse. Got to remember, my greenhouse is plastic, so it may not do, maybe better with glass. I think really it needs a heated greenhouse, so if I'm honest with you. Nicola says, Dobbies said you can this month. Yes, I know they said you can, but my experience has proved otherwise. Yeah. Nicola says, put some on mine, Richard. Yeah, it's just a bit of a distance to come and get the honey and stuff. Bethan says, what about sprouting chickpeas instead of carrots? That's probably Yeah, I could do sprouting chickpeas. What I'll do, sprouting chickpeas, I'll do both. I will do the carrots as well as the sprouting chickpeas, but the carrots are going to be like a long-term experiment to see if they actually work. I don't think they will, but it'd be interesting to see if they do work. As I say, I know some seed companies do say carrots can be sown, but it's not my experience. Right, guys, we have gone into overtime. But like Nicholas says, do carrots in the kitchen. I'll see what we can come up with. I'll see what we can come up with. Right, we have got it into overtime anyway. It's gone 7:30. I think it's time we pack up and get out of here. We will be back again next Sunday to talk about root vegetables. So get your root vegetable growing tips ready to rock and roll. Rock and roll, rock and roll, rock and roll. It's been a good laugh again tonight. Thank you so much. Everybody that is after seeds or wants to share seeds. Email me, and hopefully you've taken note. I've tried to keep as many notes as possible throughout this to try and make it easy, but please do email me and I will sort these all out to get everybody to contact each other. Right, guys, you take care. I'll be back again next Sunday at 6 where we will do it all over again. Till then, please take care.